Hi, neighbor. I've always wanted to have a friend on Facebook like you, but I'm going to have to leave Facebook. It's what you do. So now I've got dirt from the street on my hand as I take off my other shoe in this land. What can we do? What will you do? Will you stay on Facebook? Hi, neighbor. Yes, some homage to that wonderful man, Fred Rogers, a man of exemplary character and virtue. And that's all I'm looking for, and that's why I'm leaving Facebook. I've been on Facebook since 2009. I love all of you, but I want to encourage you to do the right thing. Facebook has given us a lot. I remember when I joined Facebook, it was around the same time that I joined Twitter. I had a new girlfriend whom I loved. My life was bright. I was living in South Korea. Everything was exciting and different. But things have changed a lot. And people who had relatively humble beginnings, even though they had some smarmy intentions with making a platform that was meant to compare women's faces, even though they said things like company before country, they more or less provided us with something quite useful socially, even politically. But then they were a hotbed of compromise, conspiracy theory, trafficking, fighting. Doesn't look like I'm going to get these lenses clean. I lost all of my lens cloths. And we put up with it. We put up with it because we're forgiving, we're understanding, we know that nobody's perfect. As you can see the way I'm dressed. Anyway, who cares? It's good enough. But Facebook isn't anymore. It's not good enough. I don't like contributing to the income, even in a small way, of somebody who contributes to a candidate like you know who, a felon, a smarmy, sadly damaged man, a sex offender, a seditionist, a liar. It's one thing if you lie, white lies, which I don't agree with, but it's socially acceptable. It's another thing if you lie to save someone's life or your income, to protect your family or provide for your family. It's another thing to be in politics, in the seat of the public trust, and doing the things that our president-to-be is doing. But it's worse to have someone that you are helping make money support someone like that. And getting rid of fact-checking is a really stupid and immoral thing to do. Even though we all complained about Facebook jail, it was still better to have that than not. The government doesn't do anything about these tech, I don't want to call them bros, that's too affectionate a term. These tech scoundrels, well, you and I don't have to be a part of it. And it's hard to leave. I made some very wonderful friends on Facebook, people I haven't met, but whom I feel close to. Funny people, loving people, considerate people, responsible, competent, and even incompetent, but lovely people. I made friends with astronauts, engineers, scientists, professors, journalists. I have connections to some of the most special parts of my life on Facebook. I became friends with people with whom I wasn't friendly in high school and junior high, which is a good thing. So why can't I just apply that good old-fashioned Buddhist, or if you would say Christian, or Fred Rogers acumen, and appeal to somebody like Zuckerberg? I don't have the time, and he has the wherewithal and the intelligence and probably the cognitive bandwidth, which should show him what's right and what's wrong. So I'm going to miss you, but I think we'll see each other on Blue Sky, on my podcast at Substack, here on YouTube. Where else? I'm on LinkedIn. I'm online and Kakao Messengers, things I've been trying to get Americans to adopt for a long time. They're not as sophisticated as WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, um, some of the other popular messaging applications, but they're warmer and friendlier and they're kinder, and they're not American based. So it'll be a little harder for NSA and CIA to peek in there at your private business, which doesn't amount to terrorism now, does it? And you could imagine Facebook being compromised in that way. And that these people, whom we can love as human beings, but who are obviously sociopaths, will stand before Congress and raise their hands with their blank, weird stares and their arrogant attitudes, and they'll say how they're going to fix it, but not before more people will be trafficked, not before more elections are compromised, not before more people get into unnecessary arguments and fights, not the least of which is because they do not actuate full use of the English language. We still don't have italics on Facebook. And there's a reason for that. When you're in business, multi-billion-dollar business, your mistakes after a while can't be considered mistakes anymore, like collateral damage, like what Israel's doing. They're intentional. Now, you're an American, most of you, whom I'm friends with, but not all. But you all live under democracy. And you know what it means to have integrity and freedom. And I'm sure that comes with some kind of pride, no matter how much those spiritual among us try to diminish pride. And that pride says, I don't want to be controlled by anybody. You are. You're being controlled and monitored. And you're being given the right to communicate with your friends and family to the extent that Zuckerberg and his cohort allows you. I'm a person who, even when I was a Christian, was against being prideful, rather. But I have a sense of pride that is natural, that is connected to my integrity and my competence and my patriotism, that says that I don't need to be holding on to the coattails of people who don't measure up morally to my best friends, or to me for that matter. How about you? So I'd like to ask you to join me, those of you who care about me, or even those of you who just want to argue with me, because it's all in good faith, even when it's not, because you don't know the difference and I don't know the difference. We're only doing as best as we can, even as Zuckerberg is. I mean, look into Robert Sapolsky and Sam Harris and learn about the lack of free will that we have. But be grateful for the amount of free will that you have within the bandwidth of your cognitive health to do the right thing. And join me in doing the right thing. Because nothing else is going to teach Zuckerberg but a mass exodus, like I'm sure Musk thinks about sometimes. But he'll dance around like a weirdo with his lack of dancing skill and his social acumen to pretend that he doesn't care, but you can be sure that he does. These people are addicted to money. Are you addicted to Facebook and the wrong people, the wrong morals, the wrong attitude? For many years, people in America have blamed the government, and the government is blameworthy under one or another administration. It's going to be 10 times worse now. But then the more thinking among us will say, but then again, it's the consumer who really has control. So why don't you take control right now? You don't have to be on Facebook. I've spent the better part of the last 3 or 4 days trying to figure out how to download my data because I've said a lot of things on there that I care about. I've interacted with a lot of people on Facebook whom I care about. I've put up a lot of photography and artwork for free. And I used to appreciate what we got for free from Facebook, but there are better places. Naver, the Naver company in Korea, which makes Kakao and Line Messenger, which the Japanese use, the Koreans use the Kakao more. Naver, who I think was behind, not Cyworld, yes, Cyworld, basically the first Facebook type place before Friendster and before MySpace, and a great deal better designed. They're not smarmy and disgusting. Why do you want to be with the smarmy and disgusting? I'll tell you what really convinced me to leave Facebook, besides the giving up of the fact checking, which is extremely important today, because No matter how bad at journalism you are, you're a journalist on Facebook. And if you're somebody's crazy uncle like I am, but you're focused on the wrong things, you're dangerous on Facebook. And the compromise in the elections via Russia on Facebook, and the predatory nature of people on Facebook, it's not even any of that. What really convinced me that I should leave Facebook is my own adherence to some sort of integrity that I aspire to. I left Twitter. Twitter is, for lack of a lie to put up in front of what I'm about to say, Twitter actually is still, unfortunately, the town square, as Musk called it. And I had to leave Twitter. And I went back because I thought, stay in the fight. I had over 1,000 followers, including Yoko Ono and Karl Rove at one point. Not that that's anything to brag about in the Karl Rove area, but it's remarkable. But I left because I didn't want to support Saudi investors, and I didn't want to support Musk anymore, someone I used to admire a great deal for the good that he has done and has attempted to do. But I can't brook it anymore. I can't justify it anymore. What else do you have when the mortal frame has become decrepit and broken down and you're about to leave this conscious life? It's your integrity. And my integrity can't hold up being part of Zuckerberg's cohort, however small and unimportant that I am. Because I do have a lot of friends, and I do make a lot of statements that come from the heart and the mind. And we do help him make money in these endeavors, even if we're just communicating with friends and family. It's not the only place on the internet. And the internet should not be that place which breaks down all of your integrity and compromises the same. So I hope you'll join me in an exodus from Facebook. I hope you'll leave. And thank you, Mark Zuckerberg, for being good enough to let us put such things on Facebook. I know that you're not a monster, but you're wearing a monster's cloak, and you should take it off. You should do the right thing. I've been asking you for years, as have many others, including our representatives in the legislature. And you've been too slow to change. And recently, you fell on your knees and you kissed the ring of the man who is most capable in tearing down our democracy. Don't forget where you are and where you made your money. Don't forget the people who died for this democracy, going all the way back to the Civil War and the Revolutionary War. Don't forget the people who, right or wrong, went off to fight in particular wars, including the one that defeated Hitler and Hirohito and Mussolini. That's all part of the integrity we should uphold by upholding constitutional and democratic values. And you're now on your knees in front of a man who's tearing it all down, whether you think so or not, whether if only in word or in deed. And the people who have put him where he is are doing it in deed. How many of you thought in your lifetime that you would live a surrealistic nightmare like this one, the Trump era? And you're going to stay here and support people who are supporting him? I can't see it. I can't excuse it. You've put more effort into much more difficult endeavors in your life, many of you. Keeping your jobs, getting your degrees, maintaining your marriages, raising your children, building businesses, going to the trouble to vote for the right people, giving money to the right causes, living in the right places, eating right to be healthy. Why would you stay here? An emblematic symbol of your inability to maintain that integrity. So I hope to see you elsewhere. Peace, love, joy, secular enlightenment to you and yours. Prosperity too. And keep changing minds, one person at a time, beginning with yourself. Thank you.